Oh my god, hey! Welcome back to my Stagey YouTube channel. If you're seeing my face for the first time, my name is Mickey Joe and I am obsessed with all things theatre. It has been a really great year for movie musicals. We have had films like In the Heights, like Tick Tick Boom, that have really pushed the genre of movie musicals and showed mainstream audiences not only some great, underappreciated, more niche shows, but also proved how well you can adapt stage musicals to the screen using new, innovative techniques. However, the year's movie musicals have culminated with the release of West Side Story, this remake of the original film adaptation of the stage show by incredible director Steven Spielberg. And while many of the film adaptations this year have been really pushing the genre forwards, this one is brilliant because of how classic it is. It's an absolute love letter to the concept of the movie musical, as well as to the iconic piece of cinema history that is West Side Story. I recently got to go see this at the cinema and absolutely fell in love with this new film adaptation. It broke my entire heart, it filled my soul, it was just incredible. I'm going to be telling you everything I loved about this new remake of West Side Story today with 10 reasons why it was great. Reason number 1. So the movie musical used to be this classic staple of American cinema, right? When you think about old school Hollywood, you think about the movie musical, you think about Singing in the Rain that sort of satirizes how old Hollywood worked. You think about West Side Story, you think about a lot of these classic movie musicals. Now in recent years, and I could talk about this at length, for various reasons, audience appreciation of the movie musical has waned, and the financial success of the movie musical as a concept has also waned. We've seen a lot of film adaptations of musicals where they feel the need to fill the cast with stars so as to guarantee more box office success. And a lot of these movie musicals, when they release their trailers, will sort of shy away from revealing too much about the fact that it's a musical, and will try and find more organic and naturalistic ways to fit the songs in, like the more recent adaptation of Dear Evan Hansen, where the songs were made to feel very naturalistic, or think about the live singing that was used in Les Mis and inexplicably in Cats. In West Side Story, Steven Spielberg makes the bold and brilliant statement of unashamedly celebrating old school movie musicals as a culture. This is a movie musical that is not afraid to tell you it is a musical. It is all singing, all dancing, it keeps all of its songs, and it really honors its material. It has the pacing and the duration of a classic movie musical, and it has a lot of the features as well. A lot of the ways that it uses certain effects, the way that it would fade to black after certain numbers were done. I thought that's such a classic way of doing something that's sort of shunned in more modern cinema because it breaks a certain amount of immersion, but I thought it was just a lovely nostalgic touch. I really enjoyed that. I'm no great cinema buff, but I thought a lot of the cinematography was very evocative of an older style of filmmaking, and a lot of the visual effects used, it just felt very classic to me. It was very much an homage to that sort of classic era of movie musicals. Reason number 2 why I loved this movie. While we're talking about the visuals used and the cinematography, which was stunning, I want to talk about the color palettes that were just so rich and so sumptuous, and then occasionally so bleak and so desolate. Incredibly evocative. I thought what was really clever was the way that they used the colours of the costuming to differentiate between the sharks and the jets. You had these blues and the greens for the jets. You had these red and orange hues for the sharks. Some beautiful colours in the costuming. You got Anita's yellow dress. Just so many moments. All of the colours at the gym and the sort of the relative warmth of that scene compared to, gosh, how they did the Rumble scene. Some beautiful uses of colour, of costuming, just rich visuals throughout this film. Point number 3 leads nicely on from that, which is I loved the settings they chose for all of the songs. Given that so many of these songs happen just sort of ambiguously on the streets of New York or in Maria's apartment, they found so many interesting ways to vary what they were showing you and to vary the locations of these. Some of the ones that really stand out to me, the way they staged Cool on this dock, on this sort of rickety dock with holes in the floor, and they were jumping around this sort of shack. The way they staged Something's Coming inside of Doc's shop, the way that they staged America running through the streets. The way they staged I Feel Pretty inside of this department store. Genius. Reason number 4 why I loved the West Side Story movie. The choreography. And oh my gosh. Can we talk about the choreography in this film? Like when they started and they hadn't started singing yet and they were gathering together and the jets were all assembling and they started doing this ballet in the streets. West Side Story has always had this brilliant and unique way of incorporating male dance in a way that is still so masculine and so powerful and so assertive, but has a youthfulness to it as well, to remind you exactly who these characters are. These are gangs made up of still young men, boys really, dancing around the streets of New York as if it's a playground. But it still has this assertiveness and this ownership of the area to it. These are their streets, they are owning the streets. I loved the choreography, I loved the way that it paid homage to the original Jerome Robbins choreography while still having some variation. I thought it was brilliant. I thought the way it was executed by this all dancing, phenomenally talented cast was extraordinary. The way it was filmed, it was just wonderful. And then you get the whole choreography of the mambo scene, and this is where they get to really dance because this is contextually dance within the plot of the film. And it was just fantastic. I mean, to have that cast dancing, to have Riff and Bernardo both be cast as such talented dancers, and then the girls with them as well, it was wonderful. I keep repeating these adjectives over and over again, but I loved this dance so much. I loved all of the dance in the movie. I need to give a special shout out to G Officer Krupke because this entire number, the way that they had staged it, the energy that it had, where they're running around this police station and they're trying on outfits and it's getting increasingly manic and they're swapping in and out. It was brilliant and genius and celebrates theatricality and celebrates how fun musicals could be. Aren't musicals fun? Musicals are so fun. Musicals are meant to be fun. And in a film that can get quite depressing at the end, it was a great moment of this can be fun as well. You know, it gave us this joy, even with these characters who were fretting about the possibility of imminently going to prison. They found this joy in this moment to have this crazed, fun parody joke about Officer Krupke and the legal system and how it treated them as juvenile delinquents. Reason number 5 why I really loved the new film adaptation of West Side Story. And that is that they cast so many Broadway alumni. Individually, they were all just brilliantly talented and phenomenal. Mike Faist as Riff, David Alvarez as Bernardo, Brian Darcy James even as Officer Krupke. The Broadway alumni that were cast in this film were absolutely fantastic. But to have so many of them, to have like ex-Newsies in the Jets, don't think I didn't notice that. I did. It gave it just this confidence that when the dancing was happening, when the singing was happening, it was always going to be done brilliantly. And it honoured the Broadway community, and that's what I really love, because you have so many talented performers who can really deliver when they're on screen, and they deserve that opportunity. So it was wonderful to see that. Special shout out to Andrea Burns, who I thought was hilarious as Maria's boss in that little moment in I Feel Pretty. She has a long history with that song. She has a long history with this show and with playing this role. Andrea Burns has been Maria plenty of times in her life. She's a beautiful Latina soprano. Of course she has. Reason number 6 why I fell in love with the West Side Story movie, and that was because of how great it sounded. The orchestrations were sumptuous and rich and full and delicious and perfect. And the singing, oh my gosh, the singing. I can't think of the last time I remember seeing a movie musical where I didn't have a problem with a single note of how it was sung. And that says a lot when you're dealing with a score like West Side Story that I'm quite precious about, because you have these rapturous, soaring melodies that need to be sung incredibly well. You know, you need to deliver on these vocals in these songs. And the voices were phenomenal. Again, this is what happens when you cast Broadway alumni, but they were affecting. The acting through song was there. It was gorgeously recorded. Excellent vocals throughout. Not for a second did I think, oh, that's the sort of one weak vocal person. You know, there was no celebrity casting where you thought, oh, well, their vocal's always going to be a little bit crunchy, but they make up for it by, I don't know, selling tickets. None of that. Not in this one. James Corden was not present in the cast. Who would he have played? You know what? Let's not even speak that into the universe. Reason number 7 why I loved the new film adaptation of West Side Story. Now, if you'll allow me to be a little crass for a second, I spend an awful lot of time on my channel talking, you know, meaningfully and artfully and eloquently about why I love different pieces of theatre and how it speaks to you on a profound and emotional level. I also enjoyed this film, and hear me out when I say this, all of the Jets were really hot. The Sharks were also hot. Do not get me wrong, I'm not about picking sides here, you know? I'm not choosing a side in this fight. I'm not about that life. I just think the Jets were just all specifically my type. Like, so many of them. That opening scene where it's panning around them, there's a lot of just like nice ballet jeans shots. I thought I was watching a Levi's commercial and I was ready to buy all of the jeans. I was buying whatever it was they were selling me. If it was ballet, if it was gang violence, I was there. Fun game to play. Next time you're watching this new film adaptation of West Side Story, try and work out which one the hottest jet is, because within a couple seconds you're like, oh no, that one, it's that one. Sometimes it's Mike Faced. Maybe it is Mike Faced the whole time. This is a decision you have to make for yourself. This is the conversation we need to have in the comments. Who is the hottest jet? An argument could be made for Ben Cook. An argument could also be made for the guy who played Diesel, or for Baby John. Maybe you're a Baby John type. I'm fascinated to find out what everyone thinks in the comment section down below. Let me know which jet you're thirsting after. That'll be the next video. Ranking the jets. Reason number 8 why I loved the West Side Story movie, and this one is slightly more wholesome. Rita Moreno getting to play Valentina, a new character created for this version. I thought her subplot about being a Latina woman, a Puerto Rican who had married a white native New Yorker, brought hugely interesting depth to this film. It endeared Tony immediately to the audience because of her relationship to him. She was able to admonish them in a very specific way at the end after their attack of Anita in the store, and the fact that she got to sing Somewhere I thought was just perfect for 2 reasons. So you have the obvious layer where it's Valentina who has been in an interracial relationship singing about hope for the future, for other people in her position. That film means so much more coming from her because she's speaking from her own personal experience. Having lost her husband, you know, she's thinking about love and reunion, but also about chances for couples who, you know, are always going to have a hard time within society as it was at the time. However, then you have this other layer of Rita Moreno singing this song that has been an anthem since the original version of West Side Story that she was in, that she won an Academy Award for. And so you get this sense of this song is still being sung. This song still means something all of these years later. And who better to sing it? It feels like it's in the right hands to have her sing it, and she sings it so beautifully. Reason number 9, from one Anita to another. I said that the whole cast was brilliant, that the Broadway alumni were all brilliant, that the dancing was good, that the singing was good. I have to specifically shout out Ariana DeBose because, oh my god. Ariana DeBose's performance as Anita has everything in this production. She is the glue that holds together every scene that she is in. She brings out the best of all of the characters that she engages with. She steals every scene she's in. She steals every dance that she is in. With a glance, with a vocal, with a kick, with a turn, she takes the whole damn film. She looks phenomenal. I was obsessed with her hair and her outfits and her line readings and just everything that she did. She brings you melodrama. She brings you despair. She brings you anguish. She brings you joy and laughter and sass, and she really provides everything in this film. I am desperately hoping that she gets recognition in awards season because it's a phenomenal performance that she gives in this movie. Finally, reason number 10 why I really loved the West Side Story remake. And this had a lot to do with the script changes that were written by Tony Kushner. So if you didn't know, the screenplay for this adaptation of West Side Story was written by Tony Kushner. He adapted parts of the original script and wrote in additional sections of dialogue as well. Tony Kushner is a playwright best known for Angels in America, as well as writing the book for the musical Caroline on Change. Most of his changes occurred sort of during the first act of the screenplay, where he really fleshed out a lot of characters and gave us this really interesting sense of the gentrification of the area and how that was affecting the Jets and the Sharks and their mentality moving forwards. It gave them a lot more impetus rather than them just being gangs that were fighting. He really found interesting and engaging ways to present characters like Chino, characters like Anybody's, and gave them a lot more backstory. And the thing that I really love about this film adaptation is what they did with the character of Anybody's. Casting an incredible non-binary performer and reconceiving this as a trans mask role is just genius. It's a beautiful piece of representation. It really makes sense for this character, and it's the perfect way of updating the story while keeping it, you know, plot accurate to the time, but telling it to a modern audience. Anybody's has this amazing arc in the show, and it works perfectly to reconceive the character in this way. It almost makes you look again at the original character and makes you think that that was always kind of who this character was. As with everything else that was done creatively with this film, it was done with such thought, with such care, and the end product they created was just mwah. It was beautiful. If you haven't already, make sure you go to a cinema, support the cinema release of West Side Story to whatever extent you feel comfortable to be in a cinema right now. I think it's really important to show the powers that be that when a traditional movie musical is released, the audiences are still interested in this, that it can still be financially successful. Those have been the 10 reasons why I really loved the new film adaptation of West Side Story. Let me know if there were any reasons I didn't mention down in the comment section. What was your favourite part about the film? Did you enjoy the film? Did you disagree with anything I have said? Are the jets really hot? Spoiler alert. That's not a discussion point. The answer is yes. Yes, they are. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to subscribe to my channel for plenty more stagey content coming very soon about all your favorite shows. Also, if you want to support me as a stagey content creator, head over to patreon.com/MickeyJoeTheatre for a bunch of exclusive photo and video content. I hope that everyone is staying safe and that you have a stagey day.
For 10 more seconds, I'm Mickey Joe Theatre. Oh my god, hey. Thanks for watching, have a stagey day. Subscribe!